It's time once again for a powerful mix of fitness, focus, and philosophy. Philosophy? That's right. Kick back and get ready for your host. Wisdom keeps her fit mentally, squats keep her fit and fine physically. Yes, I said fine. Tune in and prepare to challenge your body and your mind with Professor Kristen Hester. You'll think better, you'll live smartly, and all thanks to Kristen teaching us right now how to squat wisely. And now here's Professor Kristen Hester.
Well, my podcast break is over and I am back to focus on mindset. I am excited for this episode. I am excited for those who will listen to this episode because I think you're going to gain some profound wisdom today. Please stay tuned because after the break, I'm not wasting any time with a long intro. We're going to dive right into mindset with my guest for today.
Jordas A1 Solutions has a fitness solution just for you. For your personal training needs, we serve clients who reside in Atlanta, Georgia, and nearby cities. We also help clients to achieve their goals online as well. To inquire, visit Jordas.com. Jordas is Jortis.
Guys, thank you so much for checking out this episode of Squat Wisely. Today, I am honored to have the great mind behind the 10-Minute Mindset podcast on the show with me today. His name is Mario Porreca. Mario, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great. I do my podcast every day, and it's nice to be with someone else for a change and have another voice to talk to.
Awesome. Well, I want to know more about you beyond your podcast. Tell us a little bit about who is Mario.
Who is Mario? That's a good question. That's a loaded question if we have time for that. But just to give you the 3,000-foot view, I used to be a chef. That's where I started. And I did that for about 6 years. And I was at the #1 city club in America. I was very successful. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to own a restaurant and run my restaurant. Well, as fate would have it, being in that environment, it's a very stressful environment, first of all. And, ask anyone who's a chef, they work very long hours and it's just your eating habits get all thrown out of whack. So being that you spend most of your time there and you're stressed a lot, it's very difficult to lead a healthy lifestyle. Now, it can be done, but you have to focus on it. And so me being the young age, I started there right out of high school. I gained a lot of weight and I felt terrible. It changed my mood. It changed my mindset. So something that we're talking about. It changed a lot of different things in my life. And I realized that I needed to change. So at that point in my life, I was about 22 years old and I was managing about 50 different cooks that were all pretty much older than me. So that's where I had to start learning leadership skills, and I had to start learning about mindset and what makes people tick and how to work with different people and how to get the most out of them while still being positive and uplifting and helping them become the best version of themselves. And so that's where that whole journey began. And I realized mindset was something really important then. But the first journey that I took was getting my health back, getting my physiology back, losing the weight, getting my energy back, getting back to the gym, leading a healthy lifestyle. Once that happened, my whole mindset changed. I became happier. I became more engaged. I became more present with the people that were around me. And not only that, but it led me to wanting to help people and wanting to do more. And so that whole shift took me from there to people asking me, you just lost all this weight. What are you doing? So my father's a chiropractor. So I grew up around health and wellness my entire life. And so what I would do is I would connect them with him because he's who helped me. I went to him when I needed to lose weight. So I would connect them. And it turned into a coaching business. So I started health coaching. So I had over the course of I left in 6 months, I left my cooking job, started doing this full time. And in the course of about 6 months, I was coaching hundreds of people, his patients, people that I would meet. And I realized through coaching these people that there were some people that lost the weight and kept it off and lived like myself and lived that healthy lifestyle. And then there were other people who would lose some weight, but then would seem to struggle with it. And they would go back and forth. They would yo-yo back and forth. And I wanted to know why that was. So I started researching, what makes that happen. They have the same tools. They're a lot of them the same body types, but they get different results. And what I learned was mindset was a huge part of that equation. So the people with the solid mindset that habitualized and created rituals around being healthier were the people who kept off the weight and actually leveled up and became healthier and healthier and lived a healthier lifestyle. Whereas the people who just focused on the physical aspect of losing the weight, and the people who even would go to the gym to semi-punish themselves because they felt like they were unworthy or overweight and they needed to do something to make themselves feel better about that, it was very difficult for them to keep those results over a period of time. So that's when I really started studying mindset and psychology and what makes people do the things they do and what needs people need to meet to do certain things. And when I started doing that, it took on a whole new aspect of my coaching practice. And that's where I really became entrenched in mindset, because any change anyone makes, what I learned was that any change, anything you want to make that you want to keep, is 80% mindset and 20% mechanics. So if you can really instill that mindset, it really makes the difference in the long term. Because if you're just doing the mechanics, you're only covering 20% of what needs to be done. And when I think of results personally, and so just to give you some context for the rest of our conversation, when I talk about results, I don't mean just achieving a result, because most people think I have this goal, I want to hit it. Well, it's great to hit the goal, but how long can you keep that goal? If you want to lose 20 pounds and you lose 20 pounds, that's fantastic. Congratulations. But can you set a new goal now and chase that goal while maintaining that 20-pound weight loss, or building on that goal as opposed to regressing and going back to where you came from? And so that's what achievement looks like to me, is keeping those results for the long term over a long period of time, and even making them better so that you get to live a fuller, happier, healthier life.
I think that's smart. I even think it's smart with your podcast, how you do things in those short 10-minute increments, but it keeps people engaged and waiting for more. I love when you talk about allowing your mindset to keep you at a more powerful state. And I want you to kind of tap into that a little bit and give us some insight on ways we can move from passively dealing with mindset and really focus on being real focused and targeted and directly engaging our mindset for a more powerful purpose.
Absolutely. And what it really starts with is, what is your outcome? What is it that you want to achieve? Because most people, they're not specific enough with where it is that they want to go. And so before you can even dive into creating the mindset you want to create to support the identity that you want to create, you have to first create a compelling future in your mind. You have to have a strong and compelling future that you're aiming for. And then you have to take emotion and back that up. So you have to know, first of all, most people, when there's anything they want, the first mistake they make is they're too general. They say, I want to lose some weight, or I want to make some money, or I want to travel more. And those are all great things to want, but you need to know specifically what it is you want, or you're never going to get to exactly where you want to go. If you say, I want to make more money, well, I can go dig in my couch cushion right now and find a quarter, and there I go. I made more money, right? I met my goal. So how much do you want to make? How much weight do you want to lose? Where exactly do you want to travel to? And so the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is it that you want specifically? Once you have that, then it's time to back that up with emotion. So now that you know what it is you want, why do you want that specifically? And now that you know what it is and you know exactly why you want it, now you're in a more of a creative state where you can start working on the how. Most people, when they find something that they want, say, I want to lose some weight, the first thing they think is, how do I do that? And that's not the correct order of events. So sequence is very important. You have to know what it is you want and why you want it. Once you have that compelling future drawn out and you have it laid out in your own mind, now you can start to work on your mindset, because now you know that in order to create anything, it's not about losing the weight. It's not about making the money. It's about becoming the type of person that loses the weight, becoming the type of person that makes the money. So it becomes, how do I need to shift my identity to become the type of person that can create and maintain those results? And so it all goes back to me. It goes into, what state are you in? Because we all talk to ourselves a lot throughout the day. We have this ongoing conversation with ourselves. So how do you talk to yourself? Do you empower yourself, or do you set yourself back? Are you very critical of yourself, or do you see yourself as the miracle that you are and as magnificent as you are? Because if you talk to yourself and you empower yourself and you live from that state, you're going to take radically different actions than if you're constantly putting yourself down. If you take yourself and you're saying, I'm something that I like to say to myself over and over again, as funny as this sounds, and I won't I won't get into this, but I like to tell myself all the time that I'm unstoppable. And I say that over and over and over again. And it becomes because we actually hypnotize ourselves with the things we say. If you keep saying to yourself, why do I do this? Or why am I overweight? Or why do I think about this all the time? Then your mind will find answers to that, and you'll start to believe, you'll hypnotize yourself to actually believe that. Whereas if you say, I'm unstoppable, I'm powerful, I'm a miracle, and you say that to yourself over and over and over again, then you start to believe that and hypnotize yourself that way. And it puts you in a powerful state. It puts you in a place where, like before, the reason that 10-minute mindset is 10 minutes is because it really takes less than 10 minutes to get into the state that you want to get in. And if you go back and you audit yourself up to this point, and when I say audit yourself, I mean your emotions, for instance. There's certain emotions that every person goes to automatically. They're like your anchored emotions. For some of us, it's anger. For some of us, it's fear. For some of us, it's joy. For some of us, it's hurt. Whatever that is, look at what emotions you typically default to the quickest, and then think about what you do to get there. Because if you're someone who gets angry a lot, for instance, you know how to be angry very, very well. You know how to act angry really well. And you can typically get from normal to your normal resting state to anger in a matter of seconds. And your body, your physiology takes on that angry appearance. Your mind takes on that angry appearance. Your breathing changes. Everything changes to make you that angry. And so you're very good at getting angry. You can get angry in a second, and then you can stay angry as long as you want, or until you get bored with being angry, and then you move on to another emotion. But if you can think about, if you can first of all, if you're someone who gets angry, it's probably not your fault. You were probably conditioned that way from the time you were young to use anger as a state to not lose love, because that's our biggest fear as people to begin with. We all have that biggest fear that love is either going to be withheld or taken from us. So it was probably a defense mechanism as a child to not lose love. So that's probably where that comes from. And it probably served you back then. It served you very well. So it's not your fault. You don't need to blame yourself. But today, it probably doesn't serve you as much, because especially if you have goals, especially if you have things you want to achieve. So the question is, instead of getting angry at the drop of a hat, what if we practiced gratitude at the drop of a hat, or being thankful? And that's why every single day, and if you listen to the podcast, the first thing we talk about is your journaling. Number one, what is your outcome? Number two, what are your intentions? So what are 3 things you're going to do within this, one thing within the next 24 hours, one thing within an hour, and one thing within the week that you're going to do to put energy towards that intention? And finally, what are 3 things that you're grateful for? One thing that you can give, one thing that you get often, and one thing that you are. And the reason we do that is because gratitude is the most powerful state. When you're in a pure state of gratitude, it is impossible to have a negative emotion towards anything else. So if you practice gratitude consistently every day, you can make gratitude a habit. And so how about, what if every time you got angry, or every time you felt anger coming on, or hurt, or resentment, or whatever it is, you said, wait a minute, instead of that, I'm going to practice being grateful. Just for 30 seconds. I'm going to get into my grateful mindset. I'm going to act grateful right now. What is something I can truly feel gratitude for in my heart right now, and see how that serves me, as opposed to being angry and using that emotion. So that's really, 10 minutes every day. The reason the podcast is 10 minutes is because I want people to habitualize it. I want it to become a 10-minute thing. If you can take 10 minutes every single morning, the reason I do it at 7:30 in the morning is because if you can take 10 minutes every single morning and start your day from a place of gratitude, from a place of being outcome focused, from a place of power, then you can start to build that into other areas of your day. And if you become very good at being grateful, or feeling powerful, or feeling getting in that state that drives you and helps you become the person that achieves your goals, then you can do that at the drop of a hat at any time. So it's not something that you have to wait for the podcast. Yeah, get on the podcast, keep recharging those batteries, but let's shift our focus from being whatever we default to, whatever we set up before, to a state that serves us right now. It may be creativity, it may be power, it may be strength, it may be happiness, it may be joy, it may be gratitude, whatever it is. But find something that's more constructive than the habits or the patterns that we fall into in the past. And really quickly, just to sum it up, there's 3 things because this is your podcast. I don't want to hijack it. Sorry,
no, you're good.
There are 3 things that we focus on every single day, every single second of every single day. There are 3 questions that we're constantly answering. And if you can, become conscious of these and focus on these, then you can use these to help you set the state you want to be in. So number 1 is, what am I focused on right now? So like right now in this second, what are you focused on? Are you focused on the person that's speaking to you? Are you focused on the